to acquire land across from outside of your territory. I want to talk about how the U.S. Secretary Scott Bessent has commented. He had said to European countries pushing back on the U.S. attempt to acquire Greenland that they should sit down and wait for President Donald Trump to arrive at the World Economic Forum and listen to his argument. So, of course, those working in the U.S. administration are asking the European leaders to sit back and wait. So, these are, of course, aggressive toned messages.
Right,
and I believe that good sense will prevail at the end. But as I was understanding, the residents of Greenland, do they really need America on its border? Or is there going to be a relocation of the people back to Denmark? These are important questions given the fact that the World Economic Forum will be challenging the fact that how is the U.S. going to be a part of Greenland, and whether or not Greenland will have its own sovereignty question is a matter of a couple of days now, because for the last 21 days, Greenland has been on the cards and is been on the mind of U.S. President Donald Trump.
Absolutely.
Your observation would be important.
So I hope Greenland will continue to maintain their own sovereignty, and the way Donald Trump is seeing this world will not it's not possible. It's not possible at all. I think he will be threatening the NATO. He will be threatening the his allies that located in the Western Europe. I think that will be a fatal mistake if that happened. Particularly, when he imposed 10% extra tariff, and also if and 25% that will be extended in after 1st of June. So this is a huge blow to the business and commerce and tradings, particularly for the European country, the business, the trading houses in USA and also in Europe. And I think the pressure will be absolutely mounted on Donald Trump as well, because when already the stock market has collapsed last 2 days, the gold price is skyrocketing, but
as well as the silver price as well, because uncertainty is prevailing.
Uncertainty is because the way like the tech companies, the way they do business in the Europe, that will not gonna be happen anymore if if Donald Trump imposition of the tariff will actually taken place. So EU also will impose gonna be retaliation action, and that will actually put huge pressure on the US companies, and that ultimately cause a huge mistake for the Donald Trump, because these business companies will gonna then pressurize Donald Trump to come back and push back from his original policies. And I think, the global rule-based order will be seriously hampered if that gonna be happen. Like, you cannot attack a sovereign land, and that's not for sale actually. The sovereignty is not negotiable. Sovereignty is not for sale for any countries in the world. And I must respect the Greenland citizens, that they have the way they have been living in their own sovereignty status and part of Denmark government. This is their history, and they want to protect. And good that the European partners, they have given their support, and I think the European Parliament and also the Parliament in UK also, they talk about this childish act by the Donald Trump. Although he's posing it's like a security threat for USA, but actually world knows that he is looking for the rare materials in Greenland, and that is a serious threat for catalyzing the World War III. And we are actually, as you said rightly, that we are now no longer living in the world of globalization. We are now seriously moving towards the age of imperialism again. And, the US imposed imperialism, and then we are no longer talking about the Russia-Ukraine peace deal. That was the debated issue. What cake issues last 2-3 weeks before. But that issue is now under the graveyard, because, Donald Trump himself is diverting the issues.
Right. It is not just one issue of tariff between the nexus between the legal framework and the decision-making framework, or the executive order framework that Donald Trump has implemented. Of course, the court has said that these 70 nations and tariffing these nations would be illegal. And of course, the fight with the educational institutions. Very early in his tenure, in his second term, he had fought Harvard, and he has blamed some elements of anti-Semitism. All of these is being fought in the courts. But you do see the silence of the courts regarding international issues. For the Greenland issue, say, for example, there was a bipartisan team of senators who went into Denmark, went into Greenland, and said that it's all right. We don't see eye to eye on the Donald Trump issue, and the U.S. would be in support of the sovereignty of these two states. The court has certain restrictions. Right now, Donald Trump is seen to the people as the president of war.
Right.
Even though there has been talks about impeachment by the end of this year when the midterm election is set to be placed. But I want to have a question towards you as well.
Right.
It is a very trying time. Donald Trump's policies have caused old friendships, tested friendships to sever, especially with NATO. And the NATO, any kind of retaliation from one angle, and if met with another retaliation, that would be the start of World War III. We know World War I started with the killing of Franz Ferdinand back in the day. And then that is how World War I happened. And of course, the Nazi Germany was the cause for the World War II. But who would be the cause for World War III is the question. What do you think this year? Would it be rough waters if compared to last year in this year?
I think the last couple of weeks was actually, I mean, there are lots of development, particularly when Donald Trump is speaking, and the way he is changing the global order is very much threatening to global peace and stability. And we have been seeing headlines and after headlines. So the way he's seeing the global order and global relation with the one country, and particularly you said the tested relation with the NATO. So USA, I mean, for its own interest to contain the Soviet expansionism, like the Soviet Socialist Republic during 1960s to 1990s, they created this NATO infrastructure and they incorporate lots of members for against the Soviet aggression. Nowadays, I think they are no longer thinking about that. And also, earlier we had the, Pentagon clash of civilization thesis, which seen that the the white people do not fight white, and white democracies do not fight white democracies. But that
has been challenged openly today.
That openly challenged today. So that thesis no longer work anymore. And that Francis Fukuyama at the end of the end of history, that thesis also no longer working. So Donald Trump, the way he doesn't follow any economic theory, as far as I understand. Look, we thought he's a businessman. He will understand this tariff issues is a very much threatening to the global trade and business and the globalization that we had, particularly under the leadership of USA, like the World Trade Organization, World Bank, IMF. They are the institution which has promoted globalization, no tariffs, no extra measure in terms of
no barriers to entry,
no barriers to trade,
no barriers to trade.
And so, but now we are seeing total opposite development, and which is seriously threatening the global peace and stability, and also global order, like the economic order, political order, security order, whatever you say, everything is in collapse. And particularly when he came to power for the second term. So I think the U.S. midterm election would be a crucial. We must have to see that how American citizens are assessing the activities that Donald Trump is doing currently. So the midterm election would be vital. I think the way America is positioning itself into a global leader currently, particularly the collapse of USAID. He defined the USAID-like organization, which
and it moved away from so many economies, and now people are living in distraught situations.
Absolutely.
And US does not have an aid plan for across the planet.
Right. And also, so USA actually used to use soft power, like through the USA to manipulate the global system, like to import their democracy and those things, to export their democracy and bringing eliminating all forms of barriers in trade. That was their style. The traditional style of U.S. politics. But now we are believing in different style of U.S. politics, and I think a deep state inside or behind the curtain is operating, and Donald Trump is like a mouthpiece of that deep state.